they're more functional and more robust than a temple, being that you put the best, your best quality goods and best furnishings and everything in the temple versus a ward house, which is built for utilitarian,
Right.
Anything from gym shoes in there playing basketball to
Right.
Sunday best.
Yeah,
So
you're basically, when you're building a temple, you're building something for royalty. I mean,
yes,
you're building for priests and priestesses, kings and queens unto the most high God. So you're going
amen.
to
Yep.
and then temple design alone, the process can take up to 2 years, and
Boy, isn't it awesome to have this problem where there's church growth and need for temples and churches and things? Isn't that just awesome to be living this
well,
day and time? And wow,
maybe I think one day, here's my theory. I think we're going to see temples attached to stake centers, like literally part of the stake center, like not a separate building. And I think it's going to be more for efficiency than it is going to be for beauty.
yeah,
I think it's going to be sacred spaces where you can't just go into that part of the stake center because that will be called the temple. And maybe
yeah,
it'll have one sealing room and then one endowment room that acts as all three rooms. In other words, we start off in a celestial room. Like it's just one room where we do the whole endowment session.
yeah.
And then a baptismal font. And that's it.
Yeah.
We don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going. Don't really know where the world is gonna go.
President Oak's announcement about slowing down the temple building. And I know people are like, what's going on? Well, let me read something to you and then you kind of go from there. But there are some temples without locations even. And there's actually a lot, brother. So based on the most recent data from September 2025, did you know there are 51 announced LDS temples that remain still in the planning phase with no site locations identified and no construction begun?
Yeah.
So these temples fall into three main categories. So we've got, and I'll read it to you. Most recent announcements, 31 temples, okay? From October 2024, a year ago, General Conference, 16 temples still in planning. And that's is that Yucatan? Juchitan? Is that Yucatan? Yucatan de Zaragoza, Mexico. Santa Ana. Is that Yucatan? I think
it's Yucatan. That sounds
okay. Santa Ana, El Salvador. Medellin, Colombia. Sorry if I'm pronouncing some of this wrong. Santiago, Dominican Republic. Puerto Montt, Chile. Dublin, Ireland. Milan, Italy. This is a lot. Abuja, Nigeria. Kampala, Uganda. Maputo, Mozambique. Quail de Alin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. That's Idaho. How do you pronounce that?
Oh, Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, that's how you spell Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah, it's French.
Yeah, but we say
it's the heart of Elaine.
Quail de Alin, Idaho. Queen Creek, Arizona. El Paso, Texas. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Summit, New Jersey, and Price, Utah. All of those are the most recent announcements, and still no location, well, no sites, and have not gone into construction yet. Those are 16 temples still in planning. Okay? Now, from April 2025 General Conference, 15 temples still in planning. Reynosa, Mexico. Chorrillos, Peru. Rivera, Uruguay. Campo Grande, Brazil. Did I say that already?
I don't think
Puerto,
so.
Portugal. UYO, Nigeria. What is that? Oyo, Nigeria. San Jose del Monte, Philippines. Noumea, New Caledonia. Liverpool, Australia. Caldwell, Idaho. Flagstaff, Arizona. Rapid City, South Dakota. Greenville, South Carolina. Norfolk, Virginia. And Spanish Fork, Utah. So those were 15 temples announced last April that are still in planning. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's more. Earlier announcements still in planning, 20 temples. These include temples from previous conferences that haven't progressed beyond initial planning.
Right.
From other in the past.
Now I think these ones are probably the reason for the slowdown.
Right. So we got Brazzaville, Republic of the Congo, Cusco, Peru temple. Because it takes a long time. We have to get permission from the cities, from the people, and there's a lot of red tape. Hamburg, Germany. Jakarta, Indonesia temple. Edinburgh, Scotland. Brisbane, Australia, the south area, it says. Austin, Texas temple. Cleveland, Ohio temple. Honolulu, Hawaii. West Jordan, Utah temple. And then 10 others from various earlier announcements that they didn't even mention. So President Oak's reason for slowing temple announcements, and you tell me if this is right or wrong. You probably have something to add here. This is a deliberate pause in new temple announcements. And I think the primary justification would be overwhelming planning backlog.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
think
mean?
there's probably so much on the table for the temple department to manage, negotiate, acquire lands, those things. One that you didn't mention that when you look on the churches on the website under the temple section is Russia. It shows it shows a picture of the whole country of Russia, which is almost like a continent itself.
Right.
But they don't even name a town or anything. It's just the Russia temple that's been announced. So is it Moscow?
Right.
Is it St. Petersburg? Is it one of
Right.
the other leading cities?
Does
where there's
Russia have a
religious-
temple now?
I don't believe so.
No, they don't. And then now we've got problems in China where they're not even letting saints gather, right?
Right.
What about Hong Kong?
Now,
And
Hong Kong still has its temple. I think it's kind of grandfathered in to exist, but
China
you
kind of
know,
leaves them alone a little bit, don't they?
yeah, I think they know Hong Kong has a good thing going, but with what they're doing in Taiwan, I mean, Taiwan has a temple, in Taipei, but the war drums over there in Taiwan. I mean, who knows what that's gonna become. So
you've got these large number of temples with still in earliest phases of planning. So I would say that President Oaks, I don't know, I think it was appropriate that we slow down the announcements of these new temples. And I think this decision was made with the approval of the Quorum of the 12. I don't think he just did this unilaterally. I don't think he went rogue on this. I think this was a big mutual decision. And I think if our prophet was alive, he would probably have been with this decision as well.
yes,
Yeah, it's not like, President Nelson has passed and now we're going to put the brakes on. I think it's something maybe they discussed even before he passed.
yeah.
Unless
And
he
maybe maybe something that came down from the temple department says, hey, slow down. We just need some time because our limited staff is stretched. They're constantly on the road traveling, meeting with city councils, trying to meet with planning commissions, meeting with governments, trying to tell them what, to take some of the wise tales away about the LDS temples and things like that might be contra to them, and educate people. I mean, I think there's a big process and learning curve that, a lot of these places, it takes time. I don't know. Are you able to see on your list what the farthest out announced one was? I mean, going back to like 22 or earlier, 2022.
It just says 10 others from various other announcements, but I would say, I don't know, even the Cleveland, Ohio temple was a ways back.
We'll have to revisit this and see if we can get
and
some
the
of those
Honolulu,
dates.
Hawaii temple, wasn't that announclike in 2019 or something? I don't know.
I'm not
I
sure.
don't remember. What about West Jordan?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when it was announced.
So here's the deal too, though, is you've got construction industry constraints as well, because the church's special projects department they struggle, and they've got supply chain disruptions even. And a lot of people don't know that. They got labor shortages. People
remember that story. Remember that story. That we heard at the firm conference from. What was his name? I'll think of it in just a second. Anyways, he was a speaker at the firm conference that he was able to get the audience for President Nelson to meet with the Pope.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name is.
I still want him to come on the program. I wish he would.
I know we need to get that.
Can you
arranged.
try to get that going?
I'll reach out again and see if we can do that. But anyways, he was able to. The church was having all kinds of problems with the Rome temple to find quality contractors and things like that. And so basically,
because they don't just hire anybody.
Yeah. So basically, this guy was through his contacts, worldwide. I believe he's a financier. He does a lot with Wall Street and things like that, and knew some people that were, lifelong Catholics who knew a lot of people in the Vatican and the Pope and so forth. They ended up reaching out to the Vatican and got the Vatican to assist in getting some of the fine craftsmen that do work for them to help finish off the Rome temple.
Yeah,
that story is awesome.
Yeah, because they have material availability issues as well. Like we build our temples from some of the best stone. So if you got stone delivery shortages and issues, that are essential for temple construction, you're going to have problems. You're going to experience a lot of delays if you're not able to quarry, the right type of stone. If you've got a certain style, look at the temples in Japan have a certain style about them. They try to keep it. They try to keep every temple catered to that culture now. And then you've got 110 temples that are in planning phases currently. 58 of them under construction. The church's temple design and construction teams, man, they're operating at maximum capacity, brother.
Well, yeah, and even times that by all the the missionary success and growth in the church, and you've got ward houses and buildings being constructed, new stake centers and things all around the world being built too that have to be supervised, and so I mean they're more functional and more robust than a temple, being that you put the best, your best your best quality goods and best furnishings and everything in the temple versus, a ward house, which is built for utilitarian, anything from gym shoes in there playing basketball to, Sunday best.
Yeah. So. You're basically, when you're building a temple, you're building something for royalty. I mean, you're building for priests and priestesses, kings and queens unto the Most High God. So you're going to have, and then temple design alone, the process can take up to 2 years, and
boy, isn't it awesome to have this problem where the there's church growth and need for temples and churches and things. Isn't that just awesome to be living this day and time? And wow.
Maybe, I think one day, here's my theory. I think we're going to see temples attached to stake centers, like literally part of the stake center, like not a separate building. And I think it's going to be more for efficiency than it is going to be for beauty.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be sacred spaces where you can't just go into that part of the stake center because that will be called the temple. And maybe it'll have one sealing room and then one endowment room that acts as all three rooms. In other words, we start off in a celestial room. Like it's just one room where we do the whole endowment session.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the foreign...
and then a baptismal font. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, some of the, between conference sessions or before conference, how you have the countdown clock coming from the church's feed, like if you're watching online or whatever, and they show the montage of temples or whatever. But you'll notice a lot of the temples that are in foreign lands will have a stake center on the campus, and they've also got almost like dormitories for, people who have traveled for, a long ways to be able to stay in inexpensive accommodations and have accommodations for the temple workers that are working there as well, that are on the campus of the temple and stake center, and the stake center and the temples share parking lots just because, land's limited, where those things are, and they fence it off and keep the grounds really nice. And yeah, I mean, you see some of those in those montages that you'll see some of those properties that are kind of designed like what you had mentioned there, having a temple next to a stake center.
Yeah, totally. And I don't think President Nelson didn't know what he was doing. I don't think he was just like going wacko, outpacing himself. I don't think so. But I do think the rapid pace of announcements. I mean, he announced 200 temples in 7 years. 200 temples.
It's amazing.
More than half of the temples that have been in that have been conceptualized. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can probably with population centers of the LDS community all around the world, there's probably, the list is a lot longer, but we run into the physical world problems of, like what you said, the supply chain and permitting and supervision of those, having superintendents of those sites that know what the quality and criteria are. And so,
and President Oaks, he's about efficiency. He even said, we've got attorneys that are used to taking their time, reconvening, we're going to set this for a different date and come back and we'll talk about it later, as opposed to a heart surgeon that says, no, if we don't get this done now, it's going to die.
Yeah. There's,
so President Oaks indicated that this represents a shift from President Nelson's aggressive expansion strategy to a more measured approach focused on completing existing commitments rather than making new ones. So the church wants to, quote unquote, move forward in providing the ordinances of the temple to members of the church throughout the world by actually finishing announced projects rather than continuing to add to another backlog. But the slowdown is not a negative. It allows the temple department and this might have come from the temple department and the special projects department. They're like, hey, we need to do some catch up with the unprecedented volume of temple projects announced during President Nelson's administration. Let's slow the roll now, President Oaks.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of validity there because you can see the constraints of how things can get stressed in this circumstance and kind of outkick your coverage,
right?
You might say with what you can the departments can handle with their personnel and so forth. Great discussion though. This is fun.
This is good. Hey, anything else?
That's all I've got for now. We'll have to come up with some more great topics and more guests and keep the audience. We're heading into winter time now, so we'll have to do some more, less people outside mowing their lawns and doing stuff and huddled around the Last Dispensation YouTube channel as the winter months approach.
Your pop filter works perfectly. It was good. Yeah.
All right.
And you can get you hold on. You know what covers I'm talking about. Look here. Hold on a second. I should just send you
An autographed one.
so you can get them in red. There's a red one. That's,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it goes right over your mic.
Right
And
on.
There's green, and then there's I have blue. I'm gonna send
Yeah.
you some of these.
Do it.
All right?
Autograph one for me.
Yeah. I'll doggone it. Send me your
I'll text
your
you my address.
address, and I'll just put it in here. I'll relabel this and just send you some.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Wait.
Sponsored by The Last Dispensation, everybody's
Hold on a
favorite
second here.
YouTube channel.
All right. That's it, folks. All right, you take care, brother.
All right, man. We'll be in touch. I'll be texting you some more ideas on material for you.
Yeah. All right.
I'll reach out to Ryan and ask him about that guy, see if he'd be willing to come on again and tell that story. He's really good buddies with Meldrum. I mean, you have a better relationship with Rod, and maybe just reach out to Rod and see if you could get. I can't remember his name though.
Well, let me stop this first. Let me stop this before we talk.
Okay.
About that. You take care, brother.
We don't want other pod. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Hold on a second. Well,